I got a guess.
Is this on? Yes. Okay, it is 10:30. And I'd like to call the Kane County Jobs Committee to order. If we could take a roll call.
Bates, Doherty,
Right here.
Ford, Strathman,
Strathman here.
Young,
Young here.
Lewis,
Who's here?
Allen.
Alan present.
You have quorum.
Alrighty. I need a motion to approve the minutes from April 17th, 2023.
Alan moves the minutes.
Okay, would you want to demand a unanimous?
Alan moves the minutes.
Yeah, you want to do unanimous consent so we don't have to do a roll?
Oh, unanimous consent?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't like unanimous consent, but I will.
If you don't like it, then we'll do roll call.
I think actually, this is Caius. I'm not on the committee, but I think that once we go back to our normal process, we're going to have to drop the unanimous consent.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do a vote anyway. There was
Okay.
a suggestion by Ms. Bate or Ms. Juby who said we should probably get used to voting for
Oh,
rather than.
okay.
I've been trying to do as convenient as possible.
I know, it is quick on some of the things.
I think in full board meetings, when we've got 24 people, the roll call, it takes so long, but
That's-
it's little committees where. it is-
Exec and full board is.
Right. Okay, well then let's call the roll.
Did you get a second on the minutes?
Oh, I second him.
Oh, good.
Or-
All right.
Bates,
Yes.
Doherty, Ford. Mr. Doherty,
I said yes. Ford's not here.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Lewis,
Who's yes?
Allen,
Alan, I.
approved.
Okay. Next up will be our Office of Community Reinvestment, our Workforce Development Division. I see we have Maria and Scott both on the line. If you guys, Maria, this morning, if you would just go through and on your reports, because they're all on file, and I'm sure all of our members have looked at it. Can you just go through and let us just do the highlights if there's anything out of tolerance or any highlights you want to do? Because I do have one of our WIOA people here that's going to do a quick presentation for us.
Absolutely, not a problem.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We are in the final stretch for the first grant. So through the end of March, as I've mentioned before, there is a delay. Through the end of March, we have fully spent down our WIOA 21 grant. If you recall, we have until June 30th to finish those funds. WIOA 22 budget report, we appear to be on track. We are attaining our training benchmark, our expenditure plan, and our current expenditures to date for the WIOA 22 show us to be on target to hit our 80% benchmark of obligation requirement. And we already look to be on track with our youth work-based learning benchmark of the 20%. The trade budget, we have just accounted for 70% of that award allocation, and we have until the end of September to fully spend down that funding allocation. Any questions, anything else?
No, I think that's great. Any questions from the board or from the? Okay, I don't see any questions. So thank you very much for all the good work you're doing. And then I would like to go ahead and I would like to ask Jose Zambrano, and he is with the Central States SER. And I asked him, he's one of our WIOA partners. Actually, he's in Aurora. I've been working with him at East Aurora High School. And I just think it's a good example of one of our partners that does what we call the wraparound services that we talk about so much on the WIOAs. So you got to get that mic very close to you.
I'm sorry, could I ask, what is SER?
He will explain it to you.
I mean,
I thought
what
we'd
does it
let him
stand
speak.
Committee. Thank you very much, Anita, for inviting me here today to present our youth program that we have here in Aurora. My name is Jose Zambrano, and I am the program coordinator for Central State SER. And SER, S-E-R, stands for Services, Employment, and Reinvestment. It also has another meaning, and in Spanish, it means to be, to belong. So what we do is we grab that model and look at each individual, and we try to get as much information of our participants. So this way we could be better prepared and help the individual in a realistic approach. So what we do is we help young adults ages 16 through 24 years of age that are currently out of school. So those individuals are that either dropped out or were kicked out, or basically they didn't have enough points or credits for them to earn their GED, or rather their high school diploma. So those individuals are the ones that we're helping. Those individuals that had fallen through the crack or are on their way of falling through the cracks. So what we do is we grab these individuals and we tell them about the potential opportunities that they could have if they would be willing to work with us, because again, this is voluntary. We go out into the community. We speak with different organizations that help the same youth, and we try and partner with them to see how else we could help the individual to overcome any barriers that they are facing, whether it's food insecurities, whether it's home issues or homeless individuals, those that have been involved in justice system, as well as those individuals that have substance abuse. So any of those individuals, that are going through any of these issues, those are our target population that we want to help. So we go through, as far as recruitment, like I mentioned, we go to different organizations as well as with the court systems, probation officers, and we're trying to work with the school systems to identify those individuals that have dropped out, that were kicked out. So this way we can let them know that there are other resources out there for them to continue with their, goals in life. 9 times out of 10, the only reason why they don't, look for us is because they don't know we exist. They don't know that there are programs out there like ours. So what we want to do is we want to amplify, and the only way that we can do it is to partnering with other organizations and let them know that, you could come and work with us, and let's see how we can help the individual. Because at the end of the day, that's what we all are trying to do, help. So for that, the services that we provide, again, this is through WIO, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which is a free service to our participants. So they don't pay for anything. We pay for the majority of the things that they need through our supportive service system that we have. So like, for instance, if they were going to a job interview, we would help them buy clothing so they could be dressing for success. If they need certain tools or equipment for the job, like earlier, we helped place an individual through our paid work experience at a mechanic shop. This young man needed to have steel toe shoes, non-slip, safety glasses, as well as work gloves. So we were able to help him pay for all of that stuff. We took him to JCPenney to pick out the stuff, because for him, he's only 17, so he doesn't have a car. He doesn't have reliable transportation because both his parents are working. So we were able to drive him out there, pick out what he needed, and now he's working as an apprentice to do auto mechanic. This is something that he identified that he would like to do, but now he's exploring to see if he would like to do that as a career, because him and his dad like to work on cars. So this is something that obviously it was a passion for him. So we helped him identify his career path. So we went out and we talked to the employer and say, hey, we have this young man is interested in becoming an auto mechanic, but he has no experience. He's young, but he does have the interest. Would you be willing to partner with us so we could do the paid work experience at your facility? The paid work experience says he does the job at your facility, but we pay him. So you, Mr. Employer, are not assuming any financial responsibilities, any payrolling, insurance, or any other good stuff, because we take care of that. So that's an incentive for the employer, but with the understanding that, please communicate with us, provide instruction to our participant, guidance, mentoring, any of that stuff that, that he will find a benefit. And obviously, we would also communicate with the participant that if, let's just say that the employer says, you know what, your young man has been coming in late a couple of times, or he hasn't showed up for work. So we could go back to the participant and ask, hey, we understand that you haven't been to work a couple of times or that you've been late. Is there something happening that we can help you? Well, in this particular case, young man did not have reliable transportation. He was often walking or he was getting an Uber ride. But Uber costs money, so it's money that he doesn't have. And as far as walking, especially during winter, it was a little bit difficult for him. But now we identified that there was the issue, so we were able to provide bus cards, PACE bus cards. So we help identify the route, the time, and also, for him to know you're supposed to get there at this particular bus stop from your house, go to the job, and you'll make it there on time. So, he was hired. So we were able to identify, those kind of particular problems. And again, for each individual is different. So what we do is we look at the individual in a holistic approach, meaning that, we want to talk to them and say, what's your home life? What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to achieve in life? And from that information, we're able to kind of guide them, help them towards either the employment goal that he sets for himself or career. If individual would like to go to a trade such as, let's say, certified nursing assistant, welding, CDL drivers, IT, anything like that, we do have a grant that pays up to $10,000 per participant. Now, this is free money for the participant. They don't have to pay back and to help them be trained in a career path. So if an individual, chooses, for instance, that they would like to pursue a career in welding, we would help them identify the school, work with the school to identify the scheduling and all that. So this way, the participant knows everything up front and would know whether they're going to be able to pursue it based on whatever issues or whatever home life they currently have. So once we identify that this is what they want, we will help them get them enrolled into the school, because through our voucher system, we have to work with the school to make sure that they get paid. And as they are in class to be certified, we also help them, making sure that they're going on the right way. If they have any issues, that we can help them along the way. Once they graduate and have earned their certificate training, mind you, these are still young folks. They're not going to have the experience, but even if they do have the certification, they're lacking the hands-on experience. And this is where we can go to the employer on their behalf, advocate on their behalf, and let them know, we have this young man, we sent him to school, now he's certified. So we want to see if we can give him the opportunity for him to pursue this as a career. So we advocate for that. And then, through with the employer, to incentivize again, we could either offer the paid work experience, or we can leverage on-the-job training funding as well through our other partners. So again, we try to help out the individual and partner with local employers. Local services. One of which is also NIAP, which is an organization that does mental therapy as well as counseling and goal setting. And this is one, like I said, through the community reinvestment have hired to help us out and provide these services to the individuals, because again, we can't do everything. I'm not a licensed therapist. So what we do is partner with them. And if we identify an individual that can benefit from the services, we would definitely do the referral and work with NIAP closely to make sure that the individual is seeing the benefit. So through our paid work experience and also job readiness training, which is helping them with the resume, whether they have one to and improve it, or create one from scratch. Because 9 times out of 10, young folks, again, they don't have the experience, so they will probably not have an idea of how to create one or where to even get started. And this is where we come in and explain everything, the process. So this way they can have a little bit more comfort, a little bit more of, the buy-in if they work together with us. Obviously, we hold their hands. We don't do the work for them. We explain it to them so they know what it is that is required as well as what the benefits are if they do it the right way. So there's a lot of, hand holding, like I said, to make sure that the individual is able to be successful. In addition to, being job ready, for those individuals that do need to earn their GED credential, we also have that GED classroom training available. And again, we pay for all of the training as well as the testing that is part of earning their GED credential. Okay, so any questions?
Yeah, first of all, Mr. Young online, he said he does not have a copy of this presentation, which is true. It's not here. We will send something out afterwards with Jose's information and some things for you guys. I had said several months ago that I wanted to, under the Workforce Development Division, start highlighting some of our partners because Jose is just one example of some of the really amazing work that's being done in Kane County with various organizations. We have a lot of gaps in, I don't know how I want to put this, but that youth group that, have so many challenges, whether it be anxiety or mental health or challenges because there's no extra car in the house or they just are not even aware of these jobs out there. So these community partners and this WIOA stuff is really, really important to give this group of people that step up because, ultimately we want them to all pay their taxes. Our bottom line is county board members, but he's just the first one. And like I said, we will start bringing more of these. He's not the only one. He's just the one that I happen to be working with at the moment and have a lot of respect for the things they're doing in the Aurora community. So any questions for Jose?
What is NIAB? NIAB?
Yes, NIAP is,
Wait, just a second. Ms. Bates?
Microphone, please. What is NIAB?
NIAP is an organization that they do mental therapy.
What does it stand for? Is it a?
National
acronym?
Youth,
Oh, okay, advisory board.
something like that.
It stands
I
for National
apologize.
Youth Advocate Program.
There we
This
go.
is
That's the
Maria.
one.
NIAP stands for National Youth Advocate Program.
Thank you. Thank you.
NIAB.
Was that Miss Juby? Or was that,
That was Maria.
oh, that was Maria. Okay,
This
thank
is
you, Maria.
Maria.
So,
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Any other questions?
I have I don't mean to put our people on the spot, but Jose, when you mentioned you paid an employer to hire someone so that the employer was offering expertise, but wasn't having to take money out of his bank account to try and help a youngster. We have programs, I believe, like that. I'm remembering auto engineering, I think, where our organizations were able to give money to a company to cover that first 6 months of training.
That's on-the-job training, OJT. And that is that they can pay up to a certain percentage of the individual's salary back to the company.
And so you know how to tap into that if it's appropriate.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
that's great. I just wanted to say we have several specialty courts in our judicial system. We have the drug court, we have the mental health court, and we have a veterans court. And they are absolutely they just suck up money because you have to have staff who knows how to deal with these problems.
Mhm.
And it takes a long time. I made the comment yesterday that the guy, a gentleman who was in a 2-year program said, well, it took me 5 years to do the 2-year program, but here I am.
Yep.
But it's the only way to really save lives is one at a time
One at a time.
and with the kind of care that you're doing. So thank you so much for,
Thank you.
for
And,
inventing.
and with this, I know that it does take a village. It does take a village to help the individual, but one at a time, because everyone is different and everybody is not dealing with the same thing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair.
Madam Chair Strathman,
Yeah, go ahead, Cheryl.
I just want to thank you and to thank our speaker for information about this program. This is very impressive, and I am looking forward to what we get as a packet so I can have this information at my fingertips. This was great information. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Like I said earlier, I want to highlight all the great work that is done through our Workforce Development Division. A lot of times they could come here and they give us reports, which are valuable, but it's just a small amount of what they do. And I love the stories of people and, people we've helped, because that's what we're here for, is, to
Absolutely.
help people. So we're going to continue to do this. Thank you. Okay, any other comments? Okay, thank you very much, Jose, and
Thank you.
Back to work,
Yeah.
back to work.
I'll get with you after so I can get some information out to all the board members.
I have some flyers here I can leave.
Okay,
Okay.
you just leave them with Chris. All right,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So moving along, we do have a resolution, which is kind of rare for this committee. Authorizing the number of procurement cards issued to the Office of Community Reinvestment Workforce Development Division and to each of their transaction limits.
Alan moves the resolution.
Okay,
Strathman seconds.
okay, Strathman seconds. Any questions on this? If we do, we have Scott Berger on the line if anybody has any questions, but this is pretty straightforward from every one of our committees. Okay, seeing no questions, let's call the roll.
Have we got the amounts on here?
It should be in the
That on the
packet.
next page?
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Allen,
Alan, I.
approved.
Righty. Okay. Moving along. One page in front of me. I'd like to leave my comments and Ms. Allen's till the end because we've got a lot to go through on our priorities. And of course, we want to comment on that.
Good.
Oh, we have Mr. Chris up.
Thank you. I forgot to turn on my microphone. Okay, so let's go. We have a lot today, so I'm going to start first with our RISE grant. Since our last Jobs Committee meeting, Mark Van Kerkhoff and Matt Tanzi and I went through all 6 of our candidates and we sat in a room for 2 hours. We ended up picking our 2 top candidates for our Economic Development Strategic Plan. We also had 2 applications for our Economic Development Advisor. Last week, we did formal interviews with both candidates for our Economic Development Strategic Plan. And then we also had interviews with our Economic Development Advisor. Currently, we are in the process of reaching out to our preferred candidate for each of those. So I'm glad you talked about resolutions because we're going to have 2 of those next month.
We'll be prepared.
So we are working on sending out our letters of intent. We do have our top candidate for each one of those in mind. So now we just have to go through our negotiations process. But then we look to have them, the resolution start next month and get working in June. We're really excited because we had some great interviews and we had some great candidates. I think we're going to be on track to finish the Economic Development Strategic Plan in time for the end of the calendar year. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and I will be working personally as the staff liaison to the group that we will be working with for the plan, because our timetable is to have that done for the grant at the end of the calendar year. And it's exciting, but it's going to be busy, and we will be updating the Jobs Committee as we move forward through this process of where we at and what we're learning. We're going to be getting a lot of information. I'm really excited. We're going to be getting a lot of information about the county we really didn't know, and we did not have access to. And we are going to have a document that's going to start guiding us in what we want to do moving forward as a county in terms of our overall economic development strategic plan.
which is long needed.
Yes, and the advisor position is, Mark can speak better to that, but what I'm also excited about is we're going to have someone working with us who has a deep level of expertise of county level economic development knowledge. And it's going to be someone that I can call up and I can get assistance to with just easy access, as well as someone who can help us handle what I'll be talking about more with our GSEP announcements. Because one of the things that the partnership for the region has really started pumping out is, you know, we used to get Intersect Illinois site requests. I'd say I'd get 1 or 2 a month. I'm getting site requests once a week. And the way we have to funnel this information out, and I'll talk about this more later, is getting more and more complicated because we have a lot more opportunities coming our way. And we really want to take advantage of anything that we have the opportunity to attract a business or to help a business that is regional stay within the region. And I'm talking intentionally vague because there's a lot of things that I cannot talk about in an open meeting with, but things are moving fast, and things are moving in the right direction. So,
Question.
and please,
So
any questions about
We're going to be hiring an advisor, and what's the other one?
the economic development strategic plan?
The strategic plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Are
Are these both, wait just a second, are these both temporary jobs or?
So the economic development strategic plan is what we're using for the $150,000 that we got from the DCEO RISE grant. And that's going to be from the beginning of June until the end of the calendar year. That's when our funds need to be expended. And in the December, hopefully at the December board meeting, I will have a plan, an actual physical plan to bring to the board members so you can see kind of the fruit of everything that we've been working on. And this plan is going to be our guiding document, not just for what our assets are in the region, but it's also going to make recommendations for a couple other things, including a big thing is how do we include our 34% Hispanic population into our economic development fold. So outreach and coordination with that population. And the other thing is the recommendations and the processes that we're going to be needing if we have the bandwidth and if the plan finds it, to the beginning of creating a countywide economic development organization. So this is kind of, I'm gonna say this is the evidence-based process that we're using to justify the need for an economic development organization so that we can be regionally competitive and also work well with our regional partners.
Madam Chair.
Thank you for clarifying that. Ms. Bates.
So we're talking 2 positions. Are these people or consultants? Are they,
Yep.
who are these people?
The strategic plan is a consulting firm. So we'll have
I can answer,
we'll
please.
have multiple people from that I'll be working with a team that we select. The economic development advisor, that hopefully is a person. I can't speak too much specifically yet because we had 2 different applicants, but that'll be a specific person or a group that I can work closely with. The advisor position, we're looking at something part-time over a long period of time, but the economic development, when the strategic plan is over, that relationship, at least for that, will be done once
Okay.
the plan is created.
So the first one is a consultant organization,
Mhm.
probably?
Yes,
Okay. It's
Yeah.
an agency or something.
Yes.
Okay, and the other one will be an employee of the county or a
like a contract.
contractor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
They're both working on aspects of the economic development.
correct.
Okay.
I'll be working closely with me and Mark on them.
And the first one is working on the plan.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
I just didn't understand what the heck you were talking about that whole time.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, I have to back you up a
No,
little
please,
bit.
and that's completely fine. We just,
I just didn't get it.
sure.
Okay,
We have contracts and we're still going through the purchasing process. So I don't want to put anything out there that's just not formalized or
Okay.
hasn't been. We have to go through a negotiations process now that we've sent letters of intent to our preferred candidates.
Okay, and so this, we have a $250,000 grant from DCEO.
150,000.
100, oh, too bad. Well, I'm giving you a raise. 150,000 that has to be spent by December,
Yes, by the end of December this year. That's the grant term.
by end of 23.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's the one that we will base our next phase on.
Yes, that is the critical next step for what we're planning to do to be the lead up for an economic development organization.
Okay. And the advisor is going to advise on the plan?
Partially, that's one of their roles. The other is I'll talk a little bit more about this in the GSEP, but basically the bandwidth issue that we have. Mark,
Okay,
everyone who knows Mark is probably one of the busiest men I've ever met in my life. He does development better than anyone. And then there's me. So we just need another person with some experience to not only just kind of answer some of our questions, but also help us respond to a lot of the opportunities that are coming our way. Because, and again, I'll speak it, but this partnership is off to a very strong start. And because of
The
that strong,
partnership?
the
Chicago
GSEP,
Land?
yes, because of that, we are off to a great start, but we also off to a lot of opportunities that are coming our way that we want to take advantage of. And we just don't have the knowledge or the on-staff bandwidth at this time to address those.
Okay, I'm sorry to make you repeat everything you said, but I just didn't.
No.
Okay.
It's what I'm here
it's
for.
fine. The RISE grant, has started, I think we first applied for this a year ago, maybe more.
May of 2022 is when we applied for it.
So exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
When we first applied to start this whole process. So
Okay,
it's been going on a long time, and now by the end of this year, we'll actually finally get the results. Or,
Absolutely.
so we can move forward to decide what's next.
And the great thing about the ARPA funds for economic development is we're able to use some of the ARPA funds for this economic development advisor position. Which again, I cannot understate how awesome it is to have these funds, but also to have the ability to have someone to kind of help guide us through this process. We're the talk of the town in terms of we're at a great opportunity because a lot of the other counties have existing organizations. So we're building something from the ground up now that's more in tune with what's going on now. And, Lake County Partners, Choose DuPage, Will County Center for Economic Development. These are all great organizations and we're looking to emulate their models. But we're also looking to do something that really fits into Kane County. And I just want to point out that agriculture, that is something you're going to hear a lot about, that is one of our pillars of economic development that we're going to make sure is maintained throughout this process because it's a unique identity and it's part of what makes our economy flow so well. So that introduces some differences from what you might see from other counties. So that's why this process has got to be very focused, very intentional, and frankly, we're going to take all the help that we can get.
how much do we get from ARPA for this?
I think the total for ARPA for just the economic development, everything was a little bit under 3 million or somewhere around 3 million. And that covers for a lot of different things.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think if I can just add, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but don't.
I will.
But you're not.
I think one of,
But
no, of
you're
course
not.
not, of course not. I think one of the exciting things about when we develop our economic, county thing is that we will take into account agriculture,
Mhm.
we'll take into account sustainability, our transportation, our, all the other growth things.
Yes.
So that's going to be a very holistic approach to everything. We're not just going to go, oh, well, we're gonna, all we care about is bringing in warehouses. No, because we want to look at sustainability. We want to look at what fits Kane County because we're unique. We have beautiful trails. We have all these other tourism things. And the other thing we're looking at, which you'll get to, is tourism as part of our economic development,
Mhm,
which I think a lot of these other plans, at least initially, didn't look at.
mhm.
And so I think that I'm just really excited about the holistic approach we're going to use.
Well, first off, I'm glad that I did not have to correct you because
Thank you.
that was
Yep.
100% spot on.
Okay.
But no, that's exactly right. This is our opportunity. And the candidates that we spoke to the one that really spoke to me was the one that knew that we have such a unique identity. And I'll talk about something else later that has to do with our identity, but yeah, Kane County is, it's a special place compared to a lot of the other counties because we're just so unique in what we do in terms of our combination of agriculture, suburban and urban living. We are a microcosm of the Chicagoland region in a nutshell. And this is our chance to make sure that this plan speaks specifically, because there are sometimes people get wrapped up in these economic development plans where it's very generic, and that's not what we're going for. We're really trying to identify our unique assets and how, I don't want to say exploit, but how can we leverage those to really encourage growth or also sustain the growth and businesses that we have here currently.
Ms.
Madam
Bates.
Chair, I am so excited to hear you say that, and you, Madam Chair, because I have been in meetings, possibly of this committee, where we were talking about our beautiful natural areas, our beautiful green spaces, how this is attracting people, and how we should develop the whole thing. And that's not right. We cannot get tourism and for our natural spaces and develop all of those natural spaces.
Yep.
So as long as we do this thoughtfully, that will keep me quiet.
And and absolutely.
I want
And
you to keep quiet though. That's why you're on this committee. We
We'll
like you to
see.
keep
one of the
quiet.
things too that's going to come out of this plan that we want to make sure that we educate the board on is our lifestyle is one of our the lifestyle that Kane County offers to its residents, whether the north, south, or central portion, the east, west, or central pillar. That's one of our main attraction points. It's just, you can come out to Kane County, you can live by a farm, but drive to the city. You've got access to transportation via land, air, and rail. It's so many different things, but we've never had an opportunity to really tell our own story. And the way the economic development is done in the modern sense is, yes, there's a lot of data, but people don't like sitting there and looking at data and charts. They want to hear a story. They want to hear what you do differently. And this is that key moment for us to learn exactly what we're doing out here. Because one of the questions I get asked the most is just data. What's this data point? What's that data point? And now we're going to learn not just the data, but how it all kind of folds in together to really just us telling the story versus someone else or a regional partner or someone who's trying to compete with us telling our story. This is our moment. And I can say after where we were from when I started 8 years ago to where we are now, it's not in a measure of minutes or days. It's in terms of light years because we are really moving forward.
And
Madam
I
Chair.
think the other thing is that when we develop the county plan, we're doing it and really drawing in all the municipalities along the way,
Mhm.
because we want people to come to Kane County. You know, Aurora has a tourism thing, Elgin does, all the towns, but we want them to come to Kane County. I'd like them to go to Elgin and see, go to the architectural walk in 2 weeks. I'd like them to come to Aurora and see the great things. I'd like them to stop in Geneva and spend some money. So that's the one advantage we have, is we can bring a lot of these people together too, to give them a whole experience. Like, spend your whole vacation in Kane County. Don't just come out to Geneva for a day. There's a lot of things. So,
Mhm.
and the Fabulous Fox Trail is going to do that a lot too.
And to your point too, one of the key components of our strategic plan process with our consultant is to, in not just the municipalities' economic development, but to really interview a lot of different stakeholders throughout the county through this process to really get that story from everyone else, to hear what they're seeing. Because yeah, we're not in the business of picking and choosing. We want them to come to the county and then find a partner that they like here and work with them. We're just here to help everybody.
Right.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Bates.
Thank you very much. Ms. Bates, Mavis Bates. As we're talking about the master plan for the county buildings, population growth is being talked about
Mhm.
quite a bit. I mean, that's always the first thing on the list.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of population growth predicted, which I just don't believe. But like CMAP did that one projection of population, and I thought this makes no sense. And they dropped it down about 200,000
Yeah.
for Kane County. In case they're right, where are we going to put another 100,000 people in Kane County over the next 20 years?
Mavis, that's a great question. And if I had that answer for you, I would give it to you. But
Let's leave that to my comments because
Yeah.
I wanted to
Oh,
talk
really?
about the
Okay.
housing summit that I was at. this
Yeah.
Thursday.
all I can say is that is housing, is Anita will bring up later, is a core component of what we're looking at, and is part of part of it will be addressed in this plan. And we're just looking to have a quantified a number that like identifies the need. Like we can talk, we've had the different meetings and everything about what is the need, but we really want to get like, what's the actual numerical need and how do we house those projected? Because we can project populations from here until the cows come home, but what we really need to know is the housing stock and compare it to and so on and so forth, and talk about that later. But yes, the housing is an issue that we want to address in this plan.
Because if we bulldoze the entire western half of Kane County to put in subdivisions, we will no longer be Kane County.
Correct.
So
That's true. All right,
I'm done.
Okay.
for the
we'll get
moment.
on housing
For
and
the
you'll have more
moment. Okay.
comments, so we'll get there.
Mhm.
All right. I think I think there's no more questions on the RISE grant, so let's move on to, I think you have no
Yes.
ARPA.
No ARPA updates this month.
Okay. How about my favorite one or my favorite, Greater Chicagoland Economic Partnership update?
Excellent. So it's first things first, the World Business Chicago just hired a new business development manager specifically for the Greater Chicagoland Economic Partnership. I don't want to butcher his name, but his name is also Christopher. Mark and I are planning to meet with him soon to start getting that relationship formalized.
Who hired him?
The World Business Chicago.
World Business Chicago.
And
Who are they?
that is the central organization that is working with the 7 counties and the city of Chicago as part of the Greater Chicagoland Economic Partnership.
So they own the GSEP?
I
They
would
run
say
it?
they're like
World Business Chicago?
they're the key partner.
Okay.
They are the data and they are the brains of the
Right.
operation. They're smart.
Okay.
And what we're going to work with them is our process to handle a lot of these site requests that we've been receiving lately, because the opportunities have been flowing like water. And we just want to make sure that it's getting to the right people at the right time so that they can respond to these opportunities for site selections or for businesses that are looking to move interregionally. Yeah, so it's another data point to show that this relationship is getting better, and they are taking it seriously because they hired the development manager specifically for the GSEP. His role is to work with us and the other partners. The other thing that I'm working on as a small working group within the GSEP is an asset map for different industries throughout the region. We're still fine tuning which industries that in the region are clusters. And we're going to identify those and create a map to show how big and where all of our clusters are. That's something that they're looking to have done by June. But it's also it's just another tool that we're going to have for information to kind of show where we are and what's going on in the region and how we can compare ourselves to what industries are big in the region and then how they are located in Kane County. So this is a working group that's meeting bi-weekly. It's led by the data team at World Business Chicago, who I must add is an absolute wonderful team to work with. These ladies create data, or they find data in a day and get it back to me and get it to a partner. And they are just absolutely wonderful to work with. I just saw that the resolution was passed to fund GSEP, and I can say that we've already gotten a lot of our money's worth out of it for that first year, and we will continue to. Again, it's for me, having someone as a resource that I can reach out to, because before when there was data questions, it was me trying to fit it into my week, trying to be able to respond and then trying to find something accurate and relevant for whoever was requesting the data. And now I have a point of contact that I can just reach out to who enthusiastically will just respond quickly with the correct data. So that's just another asset of our county that we're just trying to utilize. We've been receiving lots of leads, and then we're also getting invites to a lot of smaller industry events in the city and the surrounding region. I'm trying to attend what I can when I can, but we just have a lot more opportunities now to put ourselves out there as a county to say that we're available for business and to network in ways that we just haven't been able to before. So the amount of opportunities are overwhelming, and the advisor, one of their roles is going to be is how how do we put it on paper to who goes to what, and how do we attend these to better utilize the opportunities that are coming our way?
Well, you always have board members in all across the county in our regions.
Yep.
You know, we all have districts. So if there's anything that any of the board members could ever do,
Yeah.
I will volunteer, all 24 of us. You know,
I'll make that note. But that's all I have for the GSEP, so I'll take any questions or comments.
I have a quick question, and I know you won't know the answer to this, but Mayor Lightfoot was a huge proponent of getting this off the ground and getting this going. Has Mayor-elect Johnson made anything at all that he's going to support this or not?
We have not, I have not heard.
Okay, I
Yeah,
was just
it's-
curious.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything, but I can say for sure that the first contract that we signed for this is 3 years. So we're insulated through the new term of Mayor Johnson,
Yeah, okay.
Mayor-elect Johnson.
Any questions before we move along?
Madam
Okay.
Chair Strathman,
Bethman. Go ahead.
this is turning out to be just fabulous meeting with all this great information. I love the enthusiasm that Chris talked about everything with, and it, at a time when there's so much struggle going on with all the things the county board is dealing with, it's so nice to have this really good news and something projected that really is going to make a difference for us all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Fabulous Fox Water Trail Initiative update.
Well, I have more good news for the committee today. We just received notice that Mark and I had applied for a tourism and attraction grant from DCO. We just read notice award for $270,000. This $270,000 grant awarding is a matching grant from DCO that it will be allocated for the construction of new kayak and canoe access sites along the Fox River. It also will help pay for improvements to existing sites, including canoe and kayak lockups along the Fox River in Kane County. We still have one more tourism grant out there that we're waiting to hear back, but this is another big win for what we're doing. We still haven't heard. I think June around the summer is when we're expecting to hear back if the president's going to sign the Fabulous Fox Water Trail into the national park or the national water trail system. So I've heard nothing but positive comments, and I know Karen, last time she spoke to the jobs committee, was optimistic. So I'm going to keep that optimism alive. Yeah, just another win for us. And, the more we can improve these sites long-term, we can improve our ability to attract people to come out to the water trail. And yeah, that's,
And those grants were anywhere from 15,000 to 500, and we got 270,
yes.
which is really good. And also, I just wrote down that surrounding us, Naperville got a nice size grant.
Mhm.
Aurora got actually 2, Elgin got 1, Montgomery did. And they're all for things for the same thing, for tourism and festivals
Yep.
to draw people to our county. So it's really exciting. Mr.
I'm not a member of the committee, but.
You're a
Quick
member of
question.
the county.
Well, yeah. You say it's a matching, what's the match?
So when we applied for this grant, we were hoping to get the full $500,000, and we leveraged ARPA funds as the matching funds to.
50-50?
Yeah, 50-50. Yep, because and I think that's what we're going to see more of now that the pandemic is over, is more 50-50 matching grants. And I have to say, Mark did a great job on this. There were some issues with the application, and our initial award was a little bit lower, but Mark reached out to them and got it bumped up to 270. So unfortunately, he's not able to hear to talk about his win, but
Fortunately, he's on vacation,
Yes.
which is much needed.
Yes. And so, yeah, it's another big win for us. It just shows the commitment that we're putting towards the Fox River and how much we utilize it and how much we appreciate that what it brings to the county.
Madam
And-
Chair.
And before I finish my update with the Fabulous Fox Water Trail Initiative, I did want to sneak in. If you could put up that article I sent Mike, there we go. Oh,
While he puts that up, I think Ms. Bates has a.
I'm sure.
Oh,
Has a
I
question.
just wanted to say about the kayak
I knew it.
Lockers?
Yes.
The-
it's exciting.
the-
No, it's
the
very
lockup.
exciting.
It is very exciting and it's not necessarily so you can store your kayak for a long time. But if you put it in Batavia or St. Charles and you paddle down to Aurora and then you've got to go get your car and then you've got to come back and get your,
Right.
you've got to leave your kayak unprotected.
Mhm.
I have a girlfriend and we go kayak, it's like getting the fox and the chicken across the river. You can't, you need that lockup space. And I want to put in one more request. How about the porta potties? I saw my Mavis Base Memorial porta potty somewhere along the Fox Rivers.
Well, no, that's a great point, Mavis, because
I don't want to have to die for it, though.
one of the things I've learned about going through this process is just from the economic development side is how when people go on paddling or canoe trips, how they have to look at, there's a lot of different factors that they look into on their trip. And that's one thing I did not know is that they needed lockup sites, transportation. There's just a lot of things that are going into it. And Karen's work, Karen couldn't be here with us today and she's been the lead on this, but just trying to approach this and trying to address every issue that we can at the county to make this just a better experience for everyone. We'll get there. Now, the porta potty, I don't know about that, but we'll see what we can do.
I think we want you to lock up your canoe and go to one of the businesses and buy yourself a chai latte tea or something.
And use
go
their
Use their
potty.
facilities. And then,
Okay.
yes.
Or work on a boat that
rough.
you tow the porta potty behind you.
Well, okay, I'll work on that too.
Okay.
And I sent an email to the committee, but I did want to share this. This is something I'm really proud of. Last month, I was featured in an article for Northwest Quarterly Magazine. And this is on their website and it's also in print going to our local chambers of commerce and local tourism bureaus. And it's a 6-page article talking about our diverse economy and what we're doing to leverage that economy, what we're doing in the region. Look at that handsome guy up on the screen.
Here's our guy.
They came out and took a headshot of me. There's a map.
Signing autographs later.
They put a map of our comprehensive land use strategy on there, which I talk a lot about in the article about how we determine where we want to put everything. This has been just another opportunity that came our way because of the things that we're doing here at King County. I've gotten a lot of good response from this article, from not just partners, but I have received some business calls from it. So people are seeing it. It's something that I'm working to get on King County Connects, but also I'm sharing it with everyone who I can. We're doing great things and people, the only bad thing about doing great things is if no one knows about it, are you really doing anything great? So this is our article. I can't think of what I didn't talk about on it, but our partners were really responsive and just giving me some information on it. And Elgin and Aurora have been really supportive on it, especially. So if you haven't read it, please do so. And any feedback, because this probably isn't the first or the last article you'll see my name in.
Madam
It was a
Chair,
very, very good article.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Roth.
could you email out the link to all the board members? I think that would be.
Yeah,
useful.
I wanted to share with the Jobs Committee first. I have an affinity for you guys,
Oh, that's fine.
but I will definitely plan to send it out to the full county board. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for doing that and I'm sure there'll be more. Yeah, congratulations.
I've been a
Right.
little busy lately, so.
Yeah, well,
Sounds like it.
we'll get you out of here to pick up your daughter at noon.
Oh, thank you.
It's in the chat link now, right?
He's got a pre-K daughter who's, whatever. Oh, there's the link in the chat. Very
Yep.
nice.
Yep,
Thank
and
you.
please forward it out to anyone. This is what we're doing with our story. And like I said, for the first time in 8 years, we are in control of our story for economic development. And that's a huge thing because now when someone's looking up King County, actually something comes up about what we're doing on a Google search rather than just our website or any other random thing that comes up.
It's very good.
Nice tie. too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like that. I like sharp.
Any questions on the Fabulous Fox or on Chris or the article or anything else? Okay, seeing none.
Thank you.
I don't think there's any new business. And on to the chair's comments. And I will start, and I know that Ms. Allen has comments too. I'm going to have to be a little bit of a Debbie Downer this morning after all that good news. So I went to a housing forum, I think it was Wednesday in Aurora, and it was Joe Jackson from Hesed House and Lori Baker from AID and Rick Guzman, who is with the Neighborhood Project. And they started out by using a lot of our slides about, you know, our lack of housing and how we have less than 0.5% available, and how much the average housing costs, rental versus our wages and all of that, which is all very bad news. But then when they got done with it, they asked questions. And one of the questions that was asked was, so we had this summit in Kane County last fall. What came out of it? And so I took the question and I said nothing. And then, but then I said behind it, I said, the reason we did it the way we did it was because we had to get the word out about how the housing is really affecting everything. You know, it's affecting jobs. People can't come to work in Kane County if they can't find a house. You know, all of our, if people don't have housing, it affects Hesed House. It affects our emotional health. It affects so many things. So it's a big, big problem. So I told the people after that, I said that we will be holding a second one soon. We've already talked about this, and we're going to do it more results oriented and bring in people that are actually doing things in the development and housing, because there is some innovative things going on out there. So we're going to head that way on the next one, which I just want to mention. But then one of the things that I'm going to get on my soapbox that really bothered me when I was at the meeting was this thing called NIMBY, NIMBY, not in my backyard. And I live in Aurora, and I'm on a board for a nonprofit, and they actually got some money to put in a 4-unit house. They got it from from IDA, the Illinois Housing Development. And it was put in a 4-unit, and it's for underserved populations. And that could be somebody who's coming out of Ron Haynes jail, who has a job but needs someplace to live. Or it could be a mother who was abused and has to need a place for her kids. But there's very specific people you can use it for, and very narrow, and very safe. So now it's all over. The city is not necessarily being cooperative and easy to work with. And now it's on Facebook that, you know, not in my backyard. I don't want, you know, sexual predators. Well, they can't even be there. Okay. But, you know, and I don't want the criminals in my neighborhood and all that. And then I went to another, well, it's the 17-unit Habitat for Humanity complex that's going in Aurora with NICOR. And the same thing, the people were there. Well, we don't want the Habitat for Humanity people in our neighborhood. These are over $300,000 houses. They're gorgeous. The design is gorgeous. They're trying to be environmentally correct. They're not perfect on it, but they're trying. And it just really bothers me because we know we have a housing problem. And, you know, we have to look at people and we have to say, yeah, we want everybody. We're Kane County. We are diverse. We keep saying that we have so many great things in Kane County. Well, let's all work together and solve this. So at our next summit, I hope we're going to have a few like innovative solutions, and probably maybe they won't be the most popular, but I think we also have to somehow figure out how we're going to deal with. I know we keep hearing from developers, we want to develop this, but the people in the neighborhood don't want that, you know, and somehow we have to get around that a little bit, but that's all. I'm sorry.
Madam
Ms.
Chair,
Bates?
Who put on that, who was in charge of that housing meeting?
It was Rick Guzman.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's with the Neighborhood Project, you know, Rick, of course. Yes, Chris.
And at the last housing summit, you know, you talked about the NIMBYs, but we've also learned about the bananas, which are
Yes.
the build absolutely nothing anywhere, never again. And then
Yes. Yes.
at another housing thing, I heard about the cave people or the citizens against virtually everything.
Okay.
Going through this process, we really do want to make our next housing summit intentional. And we're just trying to learn, it's a big problem, but we're also trying to be more solution oriented. I think
Yes.
it's what we need to be going through us, because if we just talk about the NIMBY all the time, which some of these people just want to do, it's
Right.
nothing to be solved, but we want to find solutions.
And we have to have some short-term solutions and long-term.
Yes.
Not everything, because as we know that to put up a new development takes 3 to 5 years easily, and maybe many times longer than that. So we've got to have some short-term things too.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Bates.
No, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I think, to think about sustainability in housing, if we go for multifamily and we go for more closer into the inner city, I think we're going to have less of the NIMBYs going after us, because in close to downtown in those areas, that's where you can have more density. You don't need a sprawling subdivision. You don't need, big new houses, but nice apartments. So.
Yeah, I think repurposing is really important.
Mhm.
And if I may, to your point, Mavis, the city of Portland just put I believe it was through the city, allowing multifamily housing in single family housing districts. So they are moving to have density, and that is the model to really keep an eye on moving forward, to see how that impacts growth, development, density, education, traffic, a lot of that. So we are keeping an eye out on a lot of the different methodologies out there that are trying to attempt to solve this problem.
And also, years ago, and you'll remember this in Aurora, the city was paying people
I'm
to take
living
their
in one of
multi-unit,
those.
okay,
We did
to
it.
take their multi-units, and they were paying them to make them single family to eliminate density. And now,
Yeah.
now we're kind of saying, should we have done that?
Now we've got
Um,
a seven bedroom house with John and me living in it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And now I think one of the models, and I don't know a lot about this, but I'm gonna look into it more, is like in my case, I just sold my house and we redid my daughter's basement, and I have the mother-in-law, grandmother apartment down there.
uh-huh.
And I think a lot of people are looking even to do that.
Mhm.
But there's zoning and there's different things you have to go through. There's a lot of hoops to jump through. But a lot of people, like you guys, you have a 7-room, maybe putting an apartment in there.
Well, I
And some
like
people have
keeping that.
income
I
issues,
like
you know.
having that zoning,
Yeah.
we were zoned 2 flat when we bought
Right,
it.
right.
But the city started making all these hurdles and
Yes.
red tape and,
Mhm.
get your landlord's license. We don't have anybody. We want to inspect all the parts of your house that aren't, that you're not living in. We're living in the whole thing. So we finally said, how can we get you to, lay off?
Mhm.
And they said, take out your other gas meter, take out your other electric meter, and we'll pay you $28,000.
Yeah.
And we said,
yes.
okay. So,
And
yeah, the upstairs kitchen.
another city I'd look into is Ann Arbor, Michigan. What they're doing to address their housing needs is secondary structures, so like mini houses. So single family
yeah.
homes can have those mini homes.
Tiny
They can have-
homes.
Yeah, tiny homes.
Tiny
They can-
homes.
They can build
Yes.
those in their backyards if they're out of sight. So there are a lot of different places trying it.
As
So
a rental.
rental
possibly,
or someone can own the
Yeah.
building. I mean, it varies, but
Uh-huh.
we just have to really look at what other people are trying to do and see what fits best, or
Right.
at least encourage people to try out different
Very
ideas.
interesting.
With our municipalities and our groups and our zoning
So
to make it a little more friendly.
Matt Mavis Bates,
Yes.
the reason I think that they did all the down zoning in Aurora was that it wasn't done well. So, when you put maybe 5 apartments into an old house, you get gets run down, and school overcrowding. So those are just things that have to be managed
Mhm.
and planned for.
Yeah.
But now it does seem like a bad idea.
See?
It's my fault.
Hey, you can't always plan for what's going to happen 20 years from now,
Yeah.
or
But-
30 years or 40 years, but
But we were gonna have to pay for a landlord's license and we were the only ones living there. So
yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
makes sense.
Plus you got money. Miss Helen.
Yeah.
I'd like to toss in that sometimes there are tiny things that happen that help, but they're subtle. For instance, I'm in the oldest neighborhood of Elgin, and we have Habitat for Humanity taking on certain properties and redoing houses. And our people, some of my neighbors are good at woodworking and they say, well, I'll do the porch. So you're taking an old crappy house and you have Habitat doing kitchens and baths and things. You have the neighbors rebuilding the porch. And then you have a family that qualifies moving in. And now you have a cool neighbor and a cool family in an old crummy house that is no longer old crummy.
And the
and
whole
we have-
neighborhood is better.
And we have that over and over again. We have many examples of that
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
in Elgin, in my neighborhood in Elgin.
Mhm.
And our community development group is going to be doing that's like the county's block grant money. We have Scott Berger has under him Josh Beck, and this is a guy who says, I don't read the newspaper in the morning, I read the realty listings. And our people have been responsible for again, taking terrible properties and sometimes taking them down and rebuilding. And the rules are that these are affordable homes. So some of our money will not come back to us when the home is sold. It's as Scott refers to it as a revolving loan program with diminishing returns, because you're not going to get all the money back, but we do have some of it and we get new money coming in.
Mhm.
And they're going to prepare for us a map with the dots showing where these properties are scattered all over the county. And in Elgin, just barely on the Cook County side, we have land that's been empty forever. And there is a private developer working with some of our money, leveraging some of our money to put in multi-units there that will all be affordable, that will be for underserved populations. So you're not going to hear about them. They are under the radar, but at least they're happening.
Mhm. Mhm.
And maybe
Good.
there's something we should hear about, you know?
Sure.
And maybe that's a good model too. I mean,
Well,
we're going to have a lot of innovative solutions and a lot of,
Mhm.
there's unfortunately, nothing is one size fits all, as
There
we
you
so
go.
learned.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot. And we want to make sure, as you said, like Elgin has a lot of historic value, and we want to make sure that we preserve these neighborhoods and that we're doing things correctly.
But you can do it correctly.
Yes, you
And it-
can.
and it works.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can. So, okay.
Okay. I'm
Did you have
hungry.
comments?
I noticed an article here, and I'm not sure I'm equipped to describe it well, but apparently Illinois is pushing for extra tax credits aimed at affordable housing. And the idea is that it'll probably take about 2 years to come to fruition, because a private investor can use it can build, but then has to prove that he has built it appropriately and that he has housed it appropriately in order to get the tax credits that are promised in this. And again, it's referring to the statistics that you have, that we simply don't have enough housing.
Mhm.
And so this is maybe another way to help address it. I'll ask Chris if maybe he can spread this around.
Sure.
Okay, correct.
We'll all pool our funds together, we'll build this, and then we'll get
There
tax
is
credits.
some things there that are like consortiums, or I'm not gonna call them communes, but where people will invest, a group of people. Oh, I'm sorry. I said there is an effort for that where people will pool their money and invest together and build their homes and things. It's not a commune, but it's kind of a, yeah, so that the money does not go to some developer who's going to get richer. It's going to stay right there among these people. Yeah, and there's a certain name. Go ahead, Mr. Roth.
Valley View is Roth here. Valley View is in my district, and it's like the Wild West. Very. The area of north of Wayne is called Valley View. It used to be a city, and it unincorporated in early 60s. And Mark Van Kerkhoff has given me a lot of history, and they threw away all their zoning records. So when I was campaigning, there would be $1 million house next to a shack that's falling down.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people not following zoning rules, as I find out and stuff. And so there's a huge opportunity to get some, I don't have the answer, but we need to come up with a good plan to get everything up to code if we can, or grandfather people or help them out or whatever. Because a lot of them are getting in trouble. There's a lot of independence there that they don't want it, they look at it, keep the government out type of thing too,
Yeah.
up there. But
Is
there's some
Valley-
beautiful locations
is it
right along the river.
unincorporated? Yeah.
Huh?
Incorporated, right?
Yeah, it's right by Teca with the woods.
Yeah, no, I know exactly where it
Yeah.
is. I didn't know if they had.
Yeah.
It's the
unincorporated.
famous area where you got a parcel of land with your newspaper subscription
Right.
back in the
Yes.
day.
Exactly.
And so a lot of properties have like 5 or 6 plots. I mean, that's how small they were.
Yeah.
So a beautiful opportunity long-term, right?
Yeah, there's a lot out there. All right. I think that unless we have any more comments, we are ready to place the reports on file.
Alan moves to place the reports on file.
Okay,
Second?
8 seconds. I guess we crawl the roll.
Bates,
Yes.
Doherty,
Doherty, aye.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Young, Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Allen,
Alan, I.
approved.
Ready. Executive session. And I just want to thank everybody that is on the committee and those of you that are here that are not on the committee. I know that we ran a little bit over, but there's so many exciting things that are going on right now that I certainly don't want to cut anything off. So thank you very much.
And E&E thanks you for your patience.
I think we're just going to call it one big meeting from now on. So with that, motion to adjourn, please.
Doherty
Facebook.
moves.
Hey, we'll take Gary
Okay.
as the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank
we're
you.
done. Have an excellent weekend, everybody, and see you all tomorrow afternoon at the Touch a Tractor event at the Farm Bureau.
Thank you.
Oh.